So Oasis has a song that says, "I'm gonna start a revolution from my bed." And so that is what I'm doing right now. I am learning how to go live. I've not really played around with any of this stuff. I'm not a gamer, so this is just quick talk. Um, I have maybe been living under a rock for the last 5 or 6 years, because I didn't have a television. And I would basically watch Netflix if I needed to watch something and had no access to news, and, happened to reimmerse myself into, society, I guess, for a better word, or into the suburbs, and the world is incredibly weird right now. So, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm doing like 5-minute clips just because my brain goes so far forward that this is the easiest way for me to kind of stay on track. So, really quick talk about sex. Um, my understanding is that when you sleep with someone, there's this impact that happens. I'm not being facetious with that. I'm saying on your insides. Um, And I haven't had a number of partners, a large number of partners, but I have noticed that something changes with the relationship, but also with the way you see things. It's almost like there's this peeling away of yourself, and that each new partner brings along um, another layer of, how do I say that? Another layer. Well, if this is a peeling away, then it's almost like another layer of a film. So, yeah, it's almost like you get encased in something, um, every time you take on a new lover. And the reason I'm even talking about it is, one, I've always wanted to be a sex therapist. So, my autobiography would be called The Inexperienced Sex Therapist Who Still Knew It All, which I find quite entertaining. But um, it is one of those things that I've just spent a lot of time talking about. So, if I do this, for me, that means it's just kind of like a good jung. There's like this weight, there's a responsibility, there's a um, thing that happens on your insides that you can't put words to. Good, bad, um, assaulting, intentional, just putting that out there. Um, and yet, that weight of things, if that is within a context of a loving relationship, it is very different than if someone's taking that from you, or if it's just like a passing fancy thing, or if it's, yeah, I guess mediocre or what have you. And the reason I say that is because people are watching porn and have an expectation. People are watching romantic comedies, there's an expectation. And between men and women, there's a different way of interacting. Um, and I'm saying men and women as in the males usually are visually and physically orientated, and the females are generally emotionally or relationally or connectedly um, wired. And I don't know if that's nature or nurture. And part of this is just me thinking out loud. So, in that space, that means that that book slash movie, He's Just Not That Into You, has a lot of truth to it. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, another place of truth. But at the end of the day, it comes down to People are people and looking for connection, and if people don't feel like they have a connection, then they're just going to keep moving on. But every time you move on, you are then making it more difficult to remain with someone, and so then it's almost like the loneliness just gets compounded and compounded and compounded. So I just watched the movie You've Got Mail the other day, and it was almost like this is preparing us for what's coming. And I know I sound weird saying that, but it's the idea that corporations were coming in and taking over, stuff like that. And there is actually a documentary about how corporations are now the same level of human on legal terms, but then that also sparks my brain to remember that Google back in 2009 had, basically they were doing an interview, one of the guys at a, um, co co what is it called? When you are speaking at a big group of people? Anyway, whatever that word is, and, they were saying that it's almost like the search engine was just gonna be like this almost parenthetical, thing, because if you're searching and there, within that, it's all within this loop, then it's gonna be this constant feedback loop. And so then movies, television, anything that's mainstream, anything that's pop culture are all gonna be within this thing. And so I'm gonna end the stream here only because I've lost my train of thought and I need to rein it back in. Not a conspiracy theorist and not a feminist, just kind of somebody who thinks a lot and trying to work some things out.